Good morning. Welcome, everybody. Hmm. So let's start with meditation. Take your attention inside, down below your belly button. Breathe to that energy center. And now allow your arms to go out a little bit from your sides. Open your hands so that your fingers are pointing toward the earth, and begin to run white light from the top of your head down through your body and out your feet, or whatever is closest to the ground. And allow anything that doesn't serve the highest best for you and everyone else to be cleared out of your field. So you're allowing your energetic field in its entirety to be cleared. This is your intention and what's happening. And you may feel energy dripping off your fingertips. You may not. It doesn't make any difference. Just drawing your attention to what's happening. See if you can open your chest a little bit further, take your shoulders back, and allow yourself to be deeply cleansed with your own breath in the white light. And when you feel complete with that practice, bring your hands to your lap and allow the energy to move down from below your belly button to the tip of your tailbone. And then down into the center of the earth. As we unite with Mother Earth, who holds all the components that a human being is made from. And constantly nourished by. So we feel into her with gratitude for our very life, breath, and water, and food. And that's just the beginning. Acknowledging our physical presence and requirements from the earth, and being grateful to Mother Earth gives us a connection in this reality. When you're ready, gently allow your attention to come up through the tailbone, through the energy center below the belly button, and into the energy center at the solar plexus. And allow yourself to breathe into that center. And invite any drama and trauma patterns that exist there to be released. As we feel into that space, and try dropping yourself into this space between the in-breath and the out-breath while you hold your attention in this energy center. And in feeling into that space between the breaths, you may experience yourself as larger than your body, your energy field as larger than your body. And feel for some softening in the center of that energy field in your solar plexus. And when you feel complete with that experience, move your attention up to the center of your heart. Ask for your heart center to open. Breathe into the space between the breaths as you experience your heart center. And when you feel complete, allow your attention to rise up to your throat center. Swallow in your throat. Feel for the space between the breaths. And when you're ready, take your attention to your third eye. Just above, behind, and between your eyebrows. Back into the center of your head. And feel for the stillness in the center of your head. Breathe into that. And when you're ready, allow the top of your head to open. As the spiritual energy becomes available from the top of our heads. And feel that energy cascading around you in 360 degrees, like a big fountain. And then it gathers beneath you and comes up the central channel. And now let's do the Om sound 3 times as we connect to our central channel. Do it at your own pace and with your own sound. Om. Enjoy the feeling of the energy flowing through your central channel. And now, as you're ready, holding your attention inside, gently allow your eyes to open as you adjust to the light. Take your time. And notice what it feels like to be in both places. Not separate. So, welcome this morning. How may we serve? We're so happy to be with you. Interestingly, the first practice that we did using the white light to clear, that's actually a Buddhist practice called Vajrasattva. And there's a mantra that goes with it that's quite beautiful. I'm not remembering the whole thing at the moment. It's quite long, but it's really nice. And it's a bona fide practice where you are cleansing your system with white light. And as different parts of negativity or things that don't serve are released from our being, they feed the beings that are below. And so nothing is created or destroyed, it's recycled. And so we don't have to worry about, that we're dumping our stuff someplace that's going to be harmful. It's not like that. So we're delighted to be here today. It's fall out. It's kind of nice. A little bit of cool in the air, a little bit of wet in the air. Nice to feel the change. We welcome your questions. We're kind of empty today. Andrew, anything?
Hi, Paul here.
Hi, Paul. Can you turn your volume up just a bit?
Let me.
That's great. I can hear you fine now.
Yeah. Just thoughts on
Welcome back.
yeah, thoughts on navigating change. Of course, we all navigate change all the time, but just I don't know, like to get a little perspective on navigating change. Thank you.
Perspective on navigating change. Well, you're right. Change is happening every moment as we breathe and as our body metabolizes and our experience is informed of whatever is happening both internally and externally. It's constantly changing. But we most of the time choose to focus on that which seems not to change because it's easier. It's more comfortable. So when we acknowledge that change is always happening, that it's really, really the norm, then it helps to understand that every state that we experience is temporary. Because when we feel into, especially when we have difficult internal circumstances, which we all face all the time, when we feel into those, we always feel like they're permanent, like they've always been there and they always will be, and here we are again. And we convince ourselves that in the moment we're doomed. We're not saying that's necessarily what's happening for anybody on this call, but we've all had that experience, and it's a tendency. And when we recognize that every state that we experience is temporary, we can say that truly. That's what change means. Everything that we experience is temporary. And very often we choose to identify things by what's the same as what we've experienced in the past. And so we use that to often find ourselves wanting. We judge ourselves because this experience looks like that experience. We decide nothing has changed. And that's far from the truth, because everything is constantly changing. And when we're working inside, it's important to begin to give ourselves the benefit of the doubt. Maybe this is a little different from the last time I experienced it. And look for what's different instead of what feels like the same old thing repeating. Because often when we've been working on something within ourselves for a long time, and we've all been around long enough to have things we've been working on for decades, that when they return, we're convinced that it's the same old thing, when in reality, it's completely different because we're completely different. And what used to, take us 10 days to work through, we go through in a matter of hours. Very, very often we'll discover that about ourselves. But most of the time we don't give ourselves the opportunity to experience the difference in ourselves because we're with ourselves 24/7. And so it looks the same And we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot instead of appreciating what's different. So one thing that's really helpful in those moments is to try to find some gratitude for the difference between what our experience is today, and maybe we can feel it from what it was 10 years ago. And then we can see the pattern that, and every healing process kind of goes the same way. It goes like this, and then it goes down a little bit. And we always call that failure. But really it's just contraction. You know, we expand and then we contract. And then we expand and then we contract. And then we expand and we contract. And so over time, you know, it's gone from here to here. But very often we only allow ourselves to see the contractions. And we don't give ourselves credit for the expansion when it's been huge. I mean, we're a totally different person than we were, but we don't always see it. We don't always allow ourselves to see it because we don't want to be disappointed, because we felt disappointed so many times by the same pattern, that we can't allow ourselves to see that we're actually quite different than we were in the beginning, when it always took us by surprise and decked us. And this is our work. Our work is to climb out of these holes. And when we see that, then we can see there's another way of looking at it, and it's a spiral. When something goes around like this, okay, we made an accomplishment of a level, and then it moves up, and it feels like it comes back exactly the same, but it's not. It's moved up. We work through that, and then we're the next spiral. But because it appears to us that it's the same, we get defeated internally because we don't understand the process of growth is like that. And if you look in nature, there's a lot of that inside the plants. You know, there are all kinds of geometrical shapes inside plants, and we're the same. We have all these geometrical things that are unwinding within us, but we don't exactly see it in that way as a growth and evolutionary process that we're all engaged in, just like all of nature. And instead, we kind of reduce ourselves and slow the process down by that reduction. And the truth is, this is what propels us on our journey. If we were comfortable, we would have given up a long time ago, because we'd be comfortable and we wouldn't need to do it. We wouldn't feel like we, you know, needed to be more or different, or however we describe it to ourselves. This is what propels us on our journey. And so we can be grateful for that which feels unresolved, because it continuously draws us back until we get to the point where we love the process itself. And then we look for things to resolve inside ourselves, because there's always more. And it's not linear. We're describing it as though it's, linear. It's not linear. It's multidimensional always. And from a mathematical perspective, we would say it's logarithmic, but that doesn't always mean anything. The growth is exponential. It's not 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. And it's more than 1, 2, 4, 16, and then 16 times 16, which I would have to figure it out. But that's sort of how it goes. And then there are a lot of other ways it could go too that we don't have language for. And this is our problem whenever we try to speak about reality. It transcends linear thought. And so we have a hard time. We have a hard time translating because there's no language that's not linear. There's no language that's not reductionistic. Because life itself is not reductionistic. It does this in every way. And it has all kinds of geometric patterns that, they interweave and they we can't describe it to you. But we will say that gratitude is the most helpful thing that we can do for ourselves in any moment that something strikes us. We smell a rose and we just use that experience to be grateful, to pull us out of whatever is inviting us to a different feeling. A taste of something delicious, that can do it. The sight of little puppy love. Yeah, there are things in our environment to delight us that we can use to get some traction if we happen to fall in the old patterns. We don't know if that, we weren't specifically addressing you, Paul. That's just what came up from your question. So if you want to say your question in a different way, if we didn't touch it, we're happy to revisit.
No, it's all good. I wasn't specific on, I've done a relatively big change recently. Had to give something up, and it was time, and it was all good. I know giving it up was good. It's a group that I've been involved with, and I'm just aging out, and it was time to pass it on to the next generation. And letting go is tough. I feel good about letting go, but it's change, and after the fact, it's just kind of letting it settle. So change is good. Sometimes it's a little rough, but you have to allow change, I guess. So
that's very well said. That's very well said. because we all are experiencing that as we age, that we're aging out of certain things. But what we're not noticing is we're aging into other things. You know, whatever leaves creates a vacuum. And we can fill it maybe with our own work, maybe with, you know, some kind of service that matches the energy that one has to give. Or sometimes just cultivating our own quiet, which is not a small thing. We're all in the stage of life where we are approaching the greatest transition we'll ever experience. And we've said over and over that there's no reason that we have to crawl up to our death in a state of complete degeneration. That is a fixation of our mind, that deterioration of the body is necessary before we die. We can, you know, we are so programmed that that will be our experience, that all of us will experience some of that because we've been programmed with that from our first breath. But we can continue, and a lot of it has to do with things that are beyond our control, what and how long. Nobody knows when their time is up till it is. And knowing that our source is love itself means that we're going to love. How could it be otherwise? So there's peace in that knowledge. And a lot of us, our primary experience is that we come in and out of that love. That doesn't mean that love is not the foundation of our beingness. And we would encourage you to, when you experience some, we'll say delicious, because we all have a feeling for what delicious is. When we experience something that in any dimension of our mind, body, spirit, mental, when we experience anything delicious, see if you can take it to joy. Just see. if you can experience joy. And make it play how often you can experience joy in a day. Because, of course, where we put our attention is what we're growing inside ourselves. So if we can take, even a taste of something or look of something or, any sensation that we have that can bring us to gratitude and joy, we can begin to change. Not begin, we've all been working for a long time. We can continue to change our experience to be more of what we want. If you can just catch a glimpse of joy, and ride that wave for a little bit. And we know it will change. Everything changes. But we might as well cultivate joy. What have we got to lose? You can even imagine the delicious smell of a rose, or the taste of chocolate, or sorry, we lost her. Even the feeling of a warm blanket, around us, a cuddly fleece, any of these things in a moment can take us to gratitude and then joy. We've trained ourselves to make other choices for our experience. Doesn't matter why, but we do have a choice. We do have a choice. And to cultivate that choice just for 1 minute every day. Our life will not collapse around us if we allow ourselves to experience joy. So it might be interesting to just try the practice of finding something joyous in a moment. Just a momentary choice. and see what that feels like. A sip of your perfect cup of tea or your perfect cup of coffee or whatever it is that, and you just hold that feeling and you let it expand. Wow. What a gift. And then you can go back to whatever else and then try it again later. But this is the choice that we can make over and over and over. Bringing that delicious appreciation. Anything that we have that takes us to that. Have you ever had a moment where you're so happy that you kind of said to yourself, oh, I could die feeling like this? You know, why not? Why not? Why don't we feel like that as much as we can? Makes me laugh. A friend of mine sent me a picture of someone having a mouth orgasm with a delicious French pastry. And it was the most beautiful thing. It was just like this, the light that just, complete, pure appreciation of the moment. This is available to us. We need only choose it. And there are always 10 million reasons to make another choice. It's fine. So just choose this once in a day. Make it a practice. And feel what it feels like in your body to have exquisite joy. Give yourself permission to have exquisite joy for a moment. And then another moment, and then another moment, and fall in love with joy. It doesn't require another person. How may we serve further? Hmm. And yes, we all do age out of physical capacity to do certain things. Especially if we, take that for granted and don't really cultivate it. And it gets harder to cultivate. But joy is of a different magnitude. It has everything to do with where we put our attention. And yes, we all experience loss. And the longer we are around, it seems like the more loss we experience. One thing I've noticed is, this is Rebecca, things are happening so fast. They've speeded up so much. That it's a good time to cultivate joy. Because it's going by fast. There's no longer this slow ride where it feels like time has stopped and we're looking at the clock waiting for the hour to be over so we're free. We're free now. Don't you remember when you were a child sitting in a classroom waiting for that minute hand to go the next click? The hour that would never end. Whatever interminable experience we were having. Life doesn't feel like that anymore. It's like, whoosh, the day is gone. A month is gone. We welcome your questions. And really anything you'd like to share with us.
I'm going to speak because my hand isn't working.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to try to put this in an intelligible way. I experienced joy, like you said, in my warm bed with the covers over me, my husband next to me, and many other things. Garden, flowers, rose. Just yesterday, we both took in the joy of smelling a rose. And okay, so then there comes, especially like when I'm in my bed and all cozy, the thought comes, I wish this for everyone. A cozy bed where you feel safe and warm and with someone who cares about you. And I know it's has to do with all the media input of all the suffering that's going on everywhere. And it feels as though I wish my joy could be of a contribution to others that are not in a situation where joy is even a concept most of the time. It feels very self oriented, my feeling of joy about so many things. I wish it to make a contribution somehow to the whole, not just for me, but for all. And I was wondering if you have something to say about how that works, if it actually does benefit anything else but myself.
Absolutely, it does. And you know that, or you wouldn't be saying it. You've had that experience. The more each of us chooses joy, the more joy becomes available on the planet, period. And
Good.
our work is to choose joy so often that we become an example for every life that our life touches, so that ultimately the world, it's the 100th monkey thing, it becomes normal rather than exceptional to experience joy. It becomes normal rather than exceptional to love the people in our lives. Love meaning that we are available to nurture, support, and offer as close as we can offer ourselves unconditional love. But the first thing is to offer that to ourselves. And we are conditioned that that is wrong. Our institutions are all based on the fundamental belief that we will make those institutional requirements more important, fulfilling those requirements more important than our unconditional love for ourselves. And so our institutions are all based on us taking our awareness outside of ourselves and attempting to appease and gain approval from some other. And it is not until we understand that it is appeasing and finding our inner approval of ourselves, our deepest self, and cultivating that. And when we are in harmony with that, we become uncontrollable because we are listening to unconditional love. We are motivated by our experience, our own inner experience of love, and our dedication to that experience. And as we cultivate that within ourselves, we can no longer say yes to whatever is coming toward us in terms of convention or external control. And this is a very good thing. This is when we discover who we really are. When we commit to our own integrity internally and really practice unconditional love and respect for ourselves. And naturally, when we do that, we are cultivating the practice of that for everyone else, because we can't exclude anybody from that. And definitely we can't exclude ourselves. So it is this commitment to our personal integrity of internal love and respect, which is really what cultivating this experience of joy and gratitude is aimed to do, to give us a daily experience that we are committed to, that is not about self-rejection. It's the opposite. And as we recommit ourselves to that every day and allow ourselves to fail without making it worse by kicking ourselves on the way down, and we get up and do it again every single day, and we manifest within us that which is completely transferable to everybody we meet. A good wish, a wish for goodness within ourselves and everybody else. And that space is found between the breaths, inside ourselves. And we give it when we thank the person at the grocery store, when we open the door for a lady with 2 kids and 6 bags, when we and when we smile at somebody, it's just in our cultivation of appreciation, and it's in the normal, ordinary experiences of life that we share this. And the more we share it, the more we are contributing to the whole. And just that we're not in pain. That is a huge contribution. And if we are in pain, we do our best to open to that pain and allow it to transform us into something. We break open. We allow that pain to break us open. So that we can love more.
Thank you.
Thank you. And understand that as we welcome within ourselves this opening, that every breath we take that takes us in that direction benefits the whole. How could it be otherwise? And we all get into habits of suffering. We're taught that there's something, well, in the worst case, we're taught that there's something admirable about that. That sort of Puritan life. In the best case, we open to our suffering and bring as much love as we can muster to it every moment. Because it is in loving ourselves through the suffering that we become capable of loving everything that is. And it's not that we love suffering, it's that we love the possibility of transformation, which is another word for change. And from that perspective, every change we experience is an opportunity for transformation. Wow, that happened fast. Speaking of speed, wow, or the meditation time. So let's take our attention inside for the next few minutes and enjoy being together. Hmm. Thank you so much for today. It's really been an enormous pleasure to be with you. Thank you for coming. Bye for now.